Okay, this morning's video is going to be about Democrats, good Democrats, that are realizing that their party has been taken over by the left wing and they don't want to be part of it anymore. They don't like left wing policy, the far left wing, and I can't blame them. It's quite something. I found several different stories online about this one woman who used to be part of Bernie Sanders' campaign to help him get elected and everything. And in all of these articles that I read, they all pretty much say the same thing. I printed out a little something here. I want to read it to you. And it says, former Bernie Sanders operative Evan Barker just dropped a bombshell. The far left has overtaken the Democratic Party from within. She said the establishment's 2019 blacklist after AOC and their 2020 blocking of progressives backfired hard. It forced the left to build its own machine radical staffers, hyper-left donors, and the activist base. Now the party is captured from every side. And see, this is something that I have been saying for a long, long time, that the Democrat Party hasn't been that bad of a party. And yes, there are policies that I have, and it was at a time where I didn't agree with their policy only because I felt that their policy went too far. Like, for example, both a Democrat and I can agree that the government has to collect taxes. Taxes need to be collected in order to pay for roads, to pay for infrastructure, for government to operate. They need money. So certain taxes we both agree on, Democrat and Republican. But it's how much of a tax is where there's always a difference. And Democrats have always leaned towards making a higher tax. I want a lower. We both agree there should be a tax. One side wants high, one side wants low. You find a medium ground in there, and that's where you usually wind up. I have no problem with that. But now with today's party and the far left that has taken over, there is no negotiating with them. And that's just one. That's just one thing. And this kind of bleeds into every other issue that you can think of. Well, my note continues on here. Barker watched Sanders himself get dragged further left on guns and immigration by AOC, Omar, and the new crop like Adel El-Sayed. She walked away because today's Democrats are night and day from the Obama era she signed up for: open borders, identity politics, defund the police. Her claims check out. DSA wins keep stacking up. Staff and money pull everything left. Working class voters get left behind. This isn't fringe anymore. It's the party. That's the truth they won't tell you. So, as you can see, there are people that are in the Democrat Party that they don't want to stop being Democrats. I don't blame them. We need Democrats just like we need Republicans. And I think that a lot of people that listen to me when I talk and I say the things that I say, I'm saying anything that I have said completely negative and really bad is aimed at the far left, the progressives, these people that want communism. There is no other way to define it. It's communism, for heaven's sakes. And if it isn't communism, it's hardcore fascism is what they want. They want to control business. They want to control you and me. They want to control what we read, what we think, what we see, what we hear. They want to tell us what books to read, what not to read. They want to censor everything. I mean, it's just crazy. And now these people that were working for the Bernie Sanders and the Barack Obamas, they're all really beginning to open their eyes and see it. She's just another one that finally woke up and smelled the coffee. And I want to see this continue. I really do. I want to see more and more good Democrats see exactly what's happening and just stop supporting these progressives. You got to get away from the progressives. Right here in Maine, I'm going to say it, Troy Jackson, he is a progressive. Do not give him support. Do not give him, especially that kind of power. In defense of me saying that, all right, Sue Collins is a rhino. There's no question about it. She's a rhino. But she has brought money into the state, just like the commercials are saying, and she's brought a lot of money into the state. And for us right-wingers, from time to time, she has voted in a way that I wanted her to vote. And she hasn't done that all the time, and that bugs me, but I can settle for her over a Troy Jackson or a Graham Plattner or any of these far-left people that the Maine Democrats are bringing ahead. And I should say, the Maine Democrats, from what I can see, they have become the Democratic Socialists of America. And here we go with that damn socialism. I think I put out a video last week about socialism and what's bad about it. I mean, we don't even have to go through it. We've been through it 1,000 times before. We know socialism is nothing but a big fraud. It's a big joke, and all it does is put people who have power. They just have more power, and you lose everything. You lose everything. It's just not something that anybody should support, and we know it. We know it. We've seen it, heard it 1,000 times, and. They mention in there that this woman here, she also was helping with like Obama and Bernie Sanders and everything. And I got to admit, I remember when Barack Obama first came on scene. I remember it, and it would have been in around 2006, 2007. He was headed for the 2008 campaign to run for president. And the very first thing that I saw of Barack Obama, and it made me say, okay, he's a Democrat, but and I remember telling somebody that I work with, I said, well, here's this Barack Obama, and he seems like a nice guy. Let's hear what he has to say. He's going to be a Democrat, so he is going to say policies that I'm not going to agree with, but I'm willing to listen to him. And we'll see what happens, see what he has to say. And apparently he had gone to some event, and I think he spoke, and a lot of people liked him. The Democrats were like, boy, this guy is really good. They really liked him. And they liked the idea that he was black. And I think that's something that a lot of them got roped up into. This is the first black man that's running for president and looks like he's going to make it. He's going to win. And, well, anyways, he's at this rally, and he talked, and he had the crowd right up on their feet. I mean, and this is what it is with all Democrats. They're really good at campaigning, but then once they get into the office that they get elected for, that's when their inadequacies start showing. And right off the bat with Obama, it was that way. And think of Obamacare. Look what a mess that was. Its intentions were good, yes. The intentions were good, but it turned out to be a disaster that we're still shivering and quaking from today. Oh. But anyways, he was at this rally, and he was talking. He got everybody on their feet, hollering, screaming his name, and all this other stuff. And I also remember that at every one of his rallies, they kept showing this on the news, and I tried to show people, but they just didn't pay attention to it. But for example, he would go to, we'll say, Iowa, and he'll have this campaign rally, and he gets to the "Hi, I'm Barack Obama," and the crowd is going crazy, and he'd get about half, 2/3 the way through his rally, and he'd be going, and "We need to do this, and we need to do that," and the crowd would roar, and then he would stop everything. He'd go, "Right there, there's a lady, she's fainted." And the cameras would go right on to this woman, and she fell over, and there's these people fanning air on her and picking her up and lugging her out, I don't know what the hell she was fainting from, but, they was making this big deal out of this woman that would faint. Well, then he'd move on, and then he would go to Kansas City, we'll say, or somewhere in California, or New York, or wherever the hell he went. And every time it would get to a certain point, it was almost, you could set your watch to it. He'd get about 30, 40 minutes into his rally. "Oh, there's someone out there," he'd go. "We got to stop. There's a lady right there fainting." And what no one noticed, or no one seemed to mention, was it was always the same woman. The same woman went to every rally and fainted. No, that wasn't a setup, was it? But I remember it. I remember it just like yesterday. Well, on this one particular rally that he went to, again, the same thing happened. He goes out, he talks, gets to about 35, 45 minutes into it, and all of a sudden someone faints, they lug her off. It was the same thing, town after town. Well, on this one, he gets done, he comes off the stage, and he's getting ready to head to his bus or whatever it was he was traveling around in. And actually, no, he had an Obama plane, now that I think of it. And anyways, he's headed out to go to his next rally, and these news people come up to him to ask him a whole bunch of questions. And someone asked him, "Well, we noticed that there are certain people that were making fun of your ears because they stick out quite a bit, and they've been comparing you to that Curious George. And what have you got to say about that?" And they were trying to get that racial thing going because, say what you will about Barack Obama, but his entire presidency was splitting this country right down the middle using racism. Oh, it was enough to drive you crazy. Every time you turned around, there was something in the news about a white man doing something to a black man that was wrong. Oh, it was just terrible, horrible, awful, and 8 years of it. 8 years of it, and this is all the media did was, boy, did they play on it. But anyways, Obama's standing there, and he hears this question, and boy, does he get upset. And he's like, "I got teased as a child about stuff like this, and I don't like that. And I want you to know right now, you are on notice. You are not to talk about stuff like that. You are not to ask questions like that. This stops right here." And that said an awful lot to me. It really did, That really hurt his feelings that they were saying stuff like that. And you didn't hear any more about him being compared to Curious George the monkey, which I understand. But the person that asked the question knew exactly what they were doing. They're part of the mainstream media, and this is what they were doing. This is what they were doing at the time to get that man elected. And they were playing the race card like you wouldn't believe. And then he wound up getting elected. I remember, I think there was 1 million people that wound up in Washington on his inauguration day. And I mean, it was just probably the most celebrated thing you ever saw in your life. But for me, when I was watching this whole thing, I wasn't getting sucked into the hyping up of it. I kept watching it, and as I had been watching him go through his campaign and then winning the election and becoming president, I was like, something's telling me that this is not going to turn out good at all. the more this keeps going, the more I see things that he's saying. He's making promises I know that he can't keep. He of course, he's a Democrat, and he's basically saying the policies that he's going to put into place, that I may not agree with the policy, but the intensity of the policies, saying taxes were going to go up, that regulations were going to go in place. And he did everything that a Democrat does when they get in office. They literally put ropes and chains on the economy and slow everything down, which is exactly what he did. Unemployment, by the end of his presidency, there was millions of people that were out of work and on unemployment. Then there was a lot of people that had just exhausted unemployment, and they just stopped looking for work because there wasn't any. Nobody was spending any money. No one was investing. Everything literally had come to a stop, you might as well say, economically. And at the time, I remember saying, boy, this guy is bad. He did this thing, cash for clunkers, and that just turned out to be a big fraud, a big money pit. There were certain people that made money, but the taxpayers lost huge on that. And there was just one thing after another. And it was bad. And it was right after Obama's presidency. It was him that kind of ushered in this far left getting a grip. And not only getting a grip, but getting a hold that is still happening now. And that's what this woman here is talking about. She just mentioned Obama era. I saw certain things that were happening that I didn't think it would go too far, and it had. And now it's at the point where she's saying, even I've got to leave the Democrat Party now. And again, most of these people that have left the Democrat Party, they haven't left being a Democrat. And I don't blame them. I mean, like I said, we need Democrats as much as we need Republicans, but we need good ones, not these far left ones. There's nothing wrong with having two sides to an issue. There's nothing wrong with one side saying we need taxes up here and this side saying no, we need them down here. That's a normal balance of power. Totally understood. Got to give and take on each side. But with these progressives, you're just not going to get that. You're not going to get it. And what you're going to get is this foolishness that they have right now. Look at the things that they stand for. They want open borders so people can come in and out of this country all they want. And people who have never contributed to the system is more than welcome to get onto the system and withdraw from the system that they never paid into. And they can get a lot, too. They can get a lot. Not just a little bit. I mean a lot. Comes with a big cost. And that's just on the immigration stuff. Then shift over to culture. The culture is what gets me. That's the crazy, insane stuff that I will not understand. And that is with the transgender. They support all of this stuff of allowing children to get sex changes without their parents' knowledge and or permission. They're all for keeping it from the parents, especially if the parents object to it and they don't want their children to do it. That's where they really pour on the coal and want to pass laws and legislation allowing children to make these kind of decisions about their own bodies. I mean, this is nuts. Where the hell does it come from? Then you got these full-grown men. Now, I know I've said it 1,000 times on these videos, and I'm going to keep saying it until people get it through their head that this just cannot be accepted in this society. It is wrong. Full-grown men that put on drag shows for children in elementary school. It's got to stop. This is totally and completely wrong. If these full-grown men want to dress like women and act like women or whatever the hell it is that they're doing. And that's their lifestyle, and that's what they choose to do. All right, that's fine. That's fine. That's their decision. That's their life. But when you go into schools and you're pushing it onto children that haven't even reached puberty yet, for heaven's sakes, they don't even think in those terms. You know, that's not when they should be introduced to any of this stuff. And you know that it's sinister for people to want to push that crap on kids that, you know, they're still watching Sesame Street and Barney and the Electric Company, for heaven's sakes. It's just not right. Then you've got Democrats wanting to, especially these far left ones, they literally want to put the chains and ropes and everything else on the economy and slow it down when it should be booming. Businesses should be coming to America, not leaving. And when they're in there, 9 times out of 10, you've got businesses that are looking to get out of the country because it's cheaper to do business out of the country than it is in their own. That right there should be telling people something, should be. I don't know. But I'm going to keep my eye out for more stories just like this, because I can't emphasize it enough. I personally think that the Democrat Party right now, what's left of it, is, as I've been saying right along, it's nothing but pure rot. R-O-T, rot. I heard that phrase used by Tulsi Gabbard a long time ago, and the moment that I heard her say it and use that term about what's left of the Democrat Party, and it was why she left, I was like, now there's a good Democrat right there. Now, there are certain policies that she supports that I don't agree with, but Tulsi herself as a person understands these things that have just been talked about. You don't have full-grown men in dresses putting on drag shows in school for little children. She even agrees, you know? Even if she thinks taxes should be a little high and I think they should be low, something we normally could disagree on and try to negotiate and debate or whatever, at least she knows enough that you ain't supposed to be doing any of that stuff right there. I mean, for the love of God. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know. But my advice to all of you Democrats out there, you need to somehow reform your party and stop giving support to these progressive far left. Because as long as they've got your party, you might as well say you don't even have a party. There was a time when, like a JFK Democrat, that guy was good. That guy was good. I studied his policies. I studied everything that he tried to do. And there were some things I disagreed with, of course, because he was a Democrat. But there was a lot of things that he did that, or tried to do, that was, by all means, today, the definition would be Republican. He wanted lower taxes. And he did it, too. He did it. And when he lowered those taxes, he increased the economy. He increased employment. Everything that he did was parallel to what Republicans do today when it comes to economics. Now, the other areas he was a little bit different, but still they were acceptable. They were like he had a health care that I thought was as good as Obamacare ever thought of being, and actually probably better. He had a better idea of how to finance it and how to do it right. So, my point is, the Democrat Party can be an okay party as long as you've got the right people in there and the right ones running it and doing the right things. That's all it takes. And right now, you don't have it. You don't have it. And you desperately need to either rebuild the party to what it was or scrap everything and start a whole new party and learn a lesson. Do not let progressive, far-left Democrats take over your party, because the minute you do, you are headed for a crash and burn. That's all there is to it. Okay, I've rambled on here. Oh, my Lord, I've gone 24 minutes. Oh, well, that's okay. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. definitely leave a comment. I want to hear exactly what you have to say, just like I do every day. I want to hear people talk, have a conversation in the comments. Ask me a question, tell me something you don't agree with, tell me something you do agree with. I don't care. Let's have a conversation. That's what it's all about. We're Americans, free to speech, and free to say what's on your mind. Okay, like I said, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video. You have a great Monday, August 17th, 2026. Take care. We be gone.